I'm Dale Bernhardt. I'd like to congratulate all those making up the new board, including new trustees Sandy Groth and Mark Clinton, and of course our new supervisor, Chuck Kermey. The residents have high hopes for this new board, and hoping this board are responsible servants. A few of those responsibilities include understand the agenda items and research them. Be transparent. The residents have the right to know the issues laid before this board. Use all mechanisms to inform the residents of the issues. You are not beholden to special interest groups. You work for us, we pay your salaries. Never put the residents through the trauma of the last 4 years again. Know your constituents, not just a few at church. The past 4 years have shown that many on the board have not been tolerant to any form of resident opposition, especially the supervisor. The residents have constantly engaged this board for them to rethink or rescind many issues that would erode our quality of life. A few of those issues, the tree ordinance, Northville Downs PUD, and the $10 million lawsuit that has followed, Elks property and its through road, Myers Superstore, SPARS, desire by our supervisor to eliminate HVA, a quality and free ambulance service, Salem Springs wastewater treatment plant, smart water meters, expensive with no benefit to the residents. And there are others, but point made. And all through residents' factual presentations, we were subjected to dehumanization. We were called goons, alt-right, rhinos, liars, dark money machine, smears of the truth, and more. But we persevered, and we were successful in stopping many of those issues and remaking of this board. In closing, one interesting fact I want to share. On General Election Day, I was at an election precinct. Next to me was a Democrat running for trustee who stated, Mr. Heise has offered his full support to get the township Democrats elected because he hated Mr. Kermey so much. So I ask you, trustees and clerk, what do you think about that? You spent countless hours and money campaigning as a Republican, and your supervisor was willing to throw you under the bus to fulfill his need for anger and hurt and hate, because that is what drives him. Mr. Heise, pray to God that he replaces your hate and anger with wisdom and love. But until he does that, I ask the Republican Party to never allow you to hold office as a Republican because you have been an embarrassment to the party.
How is that not hate?
First of all, I want to congratulate the township officials that were just elected. I am not Supervisor Zantop, as Kurt has been calling me on social media, but thanks for the promotion. For those of you that don't know, I supported Kurt Heise for state rep and supervisor until it was apparent he only cared about himself and not his constituents. I have attended almost every board meeting since 2005 because I love and care about this community. Because of my love for this community, my family has to endure relentless attacks and lies on social media by Kurt and his minions. Kurt even went so far as to create a Facebook page attacking my family called Stop the Zantoppers, where he trashed not only me, but other trustees and citizens of the community. This is an insult to my 1,800 former employees who still to this day proudly call themselves Zantoppers. I've had to endure numerous false accusations in lawfare brought on by Kurt. Kurt broke the law when he made a false police call on me. Kurt lost his election because they ran a dirty campaign full of lies and exaggerations. He treated residents who attended board meetings with disgust and dismissal. He even had the audacity to tell me to shut up. Kurt's refusal to listen to the people when they repeatedly told him they were against things he was doing, which would forever change our way of life in the township. The lawsuits he brought against us, suggesting Myers sue us and offering his services as an attorney against us, did not set so well with the people. These 19 flyers full of disgusting false accusations are all part of him losing the election. Even after being soundly defeated, Kurt continues to act like a junior high school attendant, trashing Supervisor Kermey constituents on social media. Many distinguished people from his own party that Kurt has trashed on social media are in the audience tonight, including his county chairwoman. Kurt, now is your time, your opportunity to apologize to these people. As we move on, I hope the members of this board have learned lessons from Kurt's actions and treat your constituents with respect they deserve. Thank you.
Hi, Bill Pine, 46-year township resident. When I first started coming to this group in February of 2023, I talked about the need for data. For most of the past 2 years, I've continued to talk about the need for data to make good township decisions. Tonight, for the final meeting of the current board, I'm here to talk about, you guessed it, data. Tonight, there are 3 PUD items on the agenda: a proposal for 2 6-bedroom, quote, prayer garden homes, unquote, at St. John's, personal warehouses at Schoolcraft, and apartments at the old Courthouse Grill location. As I understand it, the general purpose of PUDs should be to provide benefits to the community over and above the township's master plan and zoning, while, according to Michigan's Zoning Enabling Act 110 of 2006, quote, ensuring the protection of natural resources and the health, wealth, and welfare of the users of the planned unit development and the residents of the surrounding area. When PUDs are proposed, I believe they are supposed to identify variances from the master plan and zoning and typically address a number of criteria for their approval, generally starting with the Planning Commission, data. Turning to tonight's PUDs, the St. John's Dwelling PUD cites the Religious Land Use and, get this, Institutionalized Persons Act of 2000. What does this mean? Are they dormitories? Something else? There wasn't any data discussing intended use. Documentation for the other PUDs is silent on how they vary from current zoning and the master plan, or on what the Planning Commission has analyzed thus far. Given the township's disastrous prior experience with the racetrack, where essentially none of the 8 criteria for PUD approval were actually met, despite McKenna's assurances that they were okay, this is concerning. A responsible approach to considering these 3 PUDs would be to postpone any decision-making until the availability of appropriate data to use to assess their desirability. These PUDs could be just fine, or they could be terrible. But right now, you don't know. The township's recent experience with dataless decision-making, the racetrack, resulted in the change in board membership that we'll see at the next meeting. If you approve these PUDs without data, you sent the message that Kurt wasn't the only problem in this regard, and confirm your problem status as well. Data is a good thing. Please use it and act appropriately. In the broader context, the township needs to fix its analytical processes to avoid having this happen again. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is William Ikes, township resident, just over 20 years of my life here, okay? And I want to talk tonight about budgets and making every dollar last, okay? When I was at the last meeting, there was township potential budgets. People had line items on there. One of them was a Super Duty pickup truck for the DPW, right? I think there's $75,000 budgeted. I used to be the assistant chief program engineer of the Super Duty pickup truck, so I can tell you what the bill of material costs and the profit on the truck. I won't get into that, but what I wanted to let you know is there's 3 different trim types, okay? The XL is the type that has the rubber floor mat, right? So you can take a hose and wash it out. So if you're a DPW guy, you probably have boots on, you probably have mud, right? That's the proper trim level. It's also the lowest cost truck. If you get a regular cab, which can fit 3 adults, right? 2 most of the time, very easily depending on size, you can probably get yourself a truck in the $40,000 to $45,000 range. Okay, you can pull it up on your phone like I did literally 10 minutes ago. They've got them at Avis Ford. They've got them literally all over town. So there is an opportunity to reduce costs, right? So I just want to implore the board here, right? I know you guys are putting your time in, you do good work, right? But to try to make every dollar last so what's left over can be used for other things. So the other thing I want to bring up here, since I have a minute and a half left, is the fire department, the Super Duty vehicle that they had that had the light rack and whatnot. It was $230,000. It was on the agenda, I believe, back in early September or August. Man, that's a lot of money. I know we need the best equipment. I know we want to save lives here, right? Shift Group is one of the companies that's in Plymouth Township on Beck Road. In that park, they have a light rack division. They actually have EV vehicles, right? So if we're going to make the transition to sustainable, right, and be mindful of not burning fuel, which is it's a direct carbon item from tailpipe emissions, you may want to consider, as we migrate our fleet and upgrade it, to look at EVs, number one, and to try to use local business, number two, because we may get a better deal. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jeff Peters, been a township president for just about 13 years. Wanted to, as some of the others have, actually congratulate Trustee Buckley and Stewart on their winning their 4 more years as trustees, and Mark Clinton, Sandy Groth, and thank those that are, and Treasurer Bort Dorshevitz as well, and Clerk Vorba, and Chuck Kermy for his new assignment. Congratulate them and thank those that are here for the last 4 years. I've kind of wondered what might be next on Supervisor Heise's list, what he's going to do now. I felt a little sorry for him. And today I heard a story that you have attained or being appointed to some sort of high position, can be at MITC. And just in the interest of transparency, I thought that some of the folks sitting here might like to hear about that. So that's it.
Okay, thank you. All right, anybody else? All righty, we're going to move on now to item F1. This is the mandatory public hearing, which is required